Hello, and excited to welcome you back to our second webinar. Please go ahead and type in the chat box where you're from or where you're currently located, so we kind of know who's in the audience today, so that you guys can connect with one another and perhaps maybe even meet up to make content together if you guys live in the same geographical location at the moment, or we'll be together sometime soon. So go ahead and type in the chat box where you're located so we can check out where you're from. Oh, Martha's from Alabama. Woo, woo. Oh, we have someone from Alaska, Donna Smith. Thanks for checking in. What time is it there right now? We got Nick from Phoenix, Arizona, as well as Aaron Williams from Tampa. Oh, we got Illinois. Awesome. Mark from Northern Texas. What does Northern Texas mean? It's so mysterious. Like a general area. Okay. So currently in Alaska, it's 8 a.m. So luckily, yeah, that's pretty good time. We got Steve Gomez, who joined us last time, who's there on again from California. Amazing. Sarah Brown from Austin, Texas. Austin's so amazing. Honestly, if I could choose anywhere to live, I would choose Austin. Sarah Kim from South Dakota. Awesome. Cool. And then where are you guys located again, Patrick? And
we're in Washington State. So we live in Northern Washington, pretty close to the Canadian border.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so no other Washington peeps yet, but hopefully we have some more. Oh, okay, we got Brooke from Fort Collins, Colorado. Okay, so literally from coast to coast to all different areas. Thank you guys all for tuning in. So now that you have experience typing in the chat, I want to encourage you guys to use it whenever you have a question throughout the webinar. If your question is relevant to the current topic of discussion and I happen to spot it, we will pivot to your question right there and then. If not, we will definitely get to your questions at the end, where we'll have about like 10 to 15 minutes to answer everything. Additionally, we'll be recording this and sending it out to everyone to watch afterwards. So just in case you miss anything, you can rewatch it. All right, let's get started. So just a really quick introduction about me. I'm Elaine Rao, your creator manager here at RockPorch. I was a full-time content creator for 7 years, and I've trained thousands of creators on how to monetize their content via blogging on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and more, and recently transitioned to then now working at RockPorch. So anything you need in terms of like SEO, marketing, content ideas, monetization methods, I'm here for you to help you strategize, to help you make more money with RockPorch. Now, today I have the privilege of interviewing Amanda and Patrick, who are travel photographers and filmmakers that have been a part of the RockPorch family for like about a year now. Actually, I think y'all's anniversary with us was like last week, like April 19th or something like that. But how did you guys get started with your content creation journey?
So we started in freelance photography and video about 5 years ago, and it stemmed from just a passion for the outdoors. And when we had kids, we decided to continue that passion. And a way that we found that we could have our hobby pay for itself was to take our passion for photography and video and turn that into marketing assets for brands in the outdoor and off-road space.
Cool. Yeah, I'd love to talk about each of your channels and your social media channels and how you grew it, and also how you use affiliate links on each. So I guess starting with Instagram, how did you guys grow your Instagram following to 28,000 followers? Any tips you can share with us?
Yeah, so like I just said, we started out as freelance. So our focus was not on social media at all. Really, social media started for just a way for us to share some of the art, like as other photographers and stuff, you're taking thousands of pictures, right? And you just want to be able to put it somewhere. So that was where that really started. It was about a year ago that we discovered we were hitting some ceilings with that freelance photography, with that contract amount that we were able to get. So we decided that it was time to invest in building a community on social media. So in about a year, we went from about 3,000 followers to where we're at right now with 28. And that came with a lot of consistency.
Yeah, just being very hyper focused on always releasing only art first. That's what we like to preach, is that we make art before everything, and then if it can be repurposed as marketing materials and promotional products for our follower or for our brand partners that our followers would be interested in, then that's great. But we try to focus on consistency and quality. I know that Amanda, she manages our social media day to day, and she set a goal about a year ago to launch a reel every day. And that was a huge step for us because it led to immense growth very quickly. And it laid out a groundwork for us to learn very quickly what it is that gets traction and what succeeds in short format film. And so in a fairly short amount of time, we were able to become kind of case study experts on what's going to work. And it made it easier for us to write our storyboards for all of these different pieces.
Awesome. So how did you guys come up with the content ideas that converted well for you guys in terms of sales and or views?
So we focus really heavily on very strategic product placement in everything that we do. If you see any of our content, you're not going to see us getting in front of the camera and, putting on a hat and saying, buy this product. That's not at all the approach that we have. Everything that we do, we want to show very genuine use of a product and show people how that's going to translate into their life. How is it going to work for them as an individual, them as a family? Obviously, the family aspect is big for us. So just really focusing on being able to represent a product in a very genuine way.
Okay, did you guys utilize hashtags for that? Like what was the I guess the back end of driving those viewers?
That strategy changes, right? Everything with social media, especially when you're talking about Instagram, is constantly changing. It's constantly evolving. So the strategy has definitely changed throughout just even the past year a ton. I feel like every few months we're having to kind of reassess, like, what are the upgrades that they've made? What are the changes? What are they looking for? So we definitely use hashtags quite a bit and tagging. We tag all of the companies. But hashtags started out pretty important to begin with. Recently, I'm sure there's a lot of people that have noticed a big change, a big shift. We have gone away from using hashtags recently, just kind of experimenting with some stuff, and we've noticed that has actually helped our reach quite a bit. So I'm sure that there's a balance there, but it's constantly changing, and you just have to be willing to experiment a little bit. If you see that something's not working, then try to dive down a hole and see what's working for other people, but don't be afraid to just try something on your own. If you see that there's something, change the number of hashtags that you're using, or try not using them at all, or do a combination.
Yeah, I would say we have found the most consistent way to get our links out to folks is by growing our organic connection with our followers and making that super, super strong and creating an emotional connection. And then I would say the most common distribution route that we use is literally our DMs or our email campaigns through our website. So we're usually actually like handing our links over to followers that they implicitly trust us that we would not give them a link for a product that is poor or that we wouldn't use ourselves.
So when you send the link via DM, this is a direct to product affiliate link, or do you guys do direct to merchant? What's generally your strategy?
We've recently converted to direct to merchant because of actually your insights. We were using direct to product prior, and we were using, here, go see our locker, and now we're able to use direct to merchant links, and those are even more functional.
Awesome. Do you guys also share sales and different stuff like that, or is it just general brand links?
Yeah, so recently, with help with your guidance, we did add a highlight that is specifically sales, and it's something that we're just going to be refreshing as stuff comes on that's on sale, and then eliminate the stuff that's no longer relevant. But we have seen definitely an increase in at least clicks based on having that highlight there.
Yeah, cool. So let's, unless there's another question in the comments about Instagram, I'm going to jump over to your website and blog. Generally speaking, how do you drive traffic to your website or blog?
So we have two different ways that we're funneling stuff to the website. Majority of it is going to come from our link tree, which we have connected to an Instagram account. We also have that linked on TikTok, I believe. So all the social media platforms, we have our link tree. So people will funnel through that direction. Once we have people who have decided to subscribe to the website, then we can send out email campaigns. And so we'll get people that direction as well.
Okay, so within your email campaigns, what do you send? Do you send sales? Do you send links to merchants? How does that structure look like?
So it's a little bit of everything. We do like to touch on if it's a holiday, like we'll just send out a happy holiday from our family. So we try to keep that emotional connection. We also have the blog, so products or trips that we go on, tips that we have, products that we think are a good fit. We'll make sure that we send out stuff that's related to that.
And as well, from our freelance background, we have a bunch of brands that we'll partner with on specific trips or specific products, and they will have us write copy in relation to those products. And we've found success in co-hosting the same blog on both websites. So we've found that brands are more than willing to have us write copy, write a blog for their website, and then we co-host that on our website as well, which ends up through like SEO connection, allows people to make a connection to our website from, say, a Midland radio website as well. So those brands are probably going to get more traction on their website daily than we would. So it's an easy way to kind of build that into the deal of, hey, are you willing to co-host this and allow some SEO traction for everybody involved?
Great. So like backlinking and making sure that like their SEO domain authority score is tapping into yours and like mutually growing together in terms of those collaborations. That's awesome. So I know that I initially reached out to you guys to interview you guys because you guys have been killing it with TripAdvisor links and tapping into the traffic and monetizing your TripAdvisor links via just monetizing your traffic versus monetizing or making a sale on TripAdvisor per se. So could you talk a little bit about how you got started with TripAdvisor? Where are you linking to it? And let's start there.
Yeah, that's almost entirely through direct message and email campaigns. And it's because we have been doing a bunch of trips here this spring where we were staying in hotels, which was typically for us is abnormal. But it was just because we had brand partnerships that required us not to have a tent on the back of our truck for a period of time. And so we were kind of forced into staying in hotels and doing, the TripAdvisor route of things. And so folks who are interested in that type of travel noticed the slight change in our content and were reaching out and saying, how do you guys find, a hotel that you like? How do you guys find something that's not dodgy, right? And that entirely, all of those sales have been made through direct message and email inquiries through our website.
Okay, so you guys go to a location and then people ask you like, where are you? And then you go to TripAdvisor, you copy that link, you turn it into a commissionable link, and then you send them that link.
Correct.
Okay, and then, so that's, I know Martha was asking, are you linking to hotels specifically or locations or where to?
So a little bit of both, and that's kind of the benefit of TripAdvisor is that it has so much to it. So if somebody wants to know a specific area or like a specific hotel that we're staying at, we'll share that. But there's also just the area, the general area, and then we can say like, I would at least look at these 3 different options. They were really close to X location that you'll want to check out, or we've had some bad experiences too. So we've also said stay away from certain things. But yeah, it's just been a combination.
Yeah. So something that with TripAdvisor that you guys have probably noticed that's different than other brands is that like if you do send traffic, and let's say that's like $3 for traffic, you guys get how much of the sale?
20%. Correct.
Right. It's actually up to 30 depending on
Okay.
what it is. Yeah. So
Okay.
if it's around $3 that you guys get for one click to like a hotel, you guys make about like almost $1, for that one person click. So that's how you guys have been, yeah, as I said, killing it with TripAdvisor, and making a ton of money just from sending traffic. So is there a different linking method that you guys do, or do you guys link to different things in TripAdvisor on your email campaigns versus like other places?
It really has more to do with the location. I would say that's kind of the determining factor, because there's some places where we found there were really only one hotel that we would want to promote and encourage people to stay at. And in that case, we would, we would force feed, like, this is the exact location you want to go to. But like at a place like Pismo Beach, which we were in recently, there's a ton of great places to stay in Pismo Beach. And so we would go more location based on that, of, just sending a link to the general location of Pismo Beach and then that way people can, use their discretion and choose something that fits their budget and their lifestyle.
Yeah. Have you guys seen more clicks on Instagram for you guys, or more clicks on email?
Instagram.
Definitely
clearly,
Instagram.
But mainly because that is going through direct message. So people are specifically asking for it. So it's, 100% click rate when we are sending it through a DM, whereas the email, that's going to be a lower percentage.
Okay. When you guys post on your TripAdvisor links on Instagram, do you guys also save it to your highlights for future use?
So we will, again, like, we've been really focused on the direct message, so people sending it that way. We will start sharing it in stories more, especially elaborating on all of the things that TripAdvisor does offer. So we will start to do that, and we will save it to our highlights in the future.
Okay, cool. We have another question from Martha. What does PPC mean and how does it work? So PPC means pay per click. So instead of pay per sale, which is what we've been talking about in terms of TripAdvisor and how it's, as I said, slightly different than the other brands that we partner with, where if someone were to click on, the rugged destinations link, you guys, the person who sends out the link will get basically commissions without a sale. So they don't have to buy a hotel link. They don't have to buy a flight or whatever it is on TripAdvisor. All they have to do is click on your link, and then you will make about $1 per sale, or sorry, $1 per click. And that in essence is like a sale. Has that been something that you guys have tapped into before, or is this like the first time that this is happening for you guys?
This is the first time, and it's fantastic because we have thousands of clicks every month, but the ratio of sales is really low. So to have some kind of pay just for getting somebody to go somewhere is a huge development for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. All right, let's jump a little bit over to Pinterest, because Pinterest is also like super clickable. How have you guys utilized Pinterest, and do you guys use that to drive traffic to your blog and all that stuff as well?
Yeah, so Pinterest is mainly just something to funnel people to our website, to our blog. And it's been successful. We don't have a huge following. It's not where a lot of our attention has gone, but it's definitely a great way to funnel people over to the blog. And we've seen a great return on people subscribing for newsletters and stuff from that.
So you guys, do you guys put your direct affiliate links or your TripAdvisor links directly on Pinterest for the click?
We have a few times. So mostly we send it to a blog, which will then have multiple links on it. So we've kind of gone back and forth. If there's a specific video, because you can still post essentially like a short or a reel on Pinterest. From there, it's much easier to send a direct link to a product. But if we are doing just a still image and we're wanting to funnel people over to our blog, then we'll do that, just because there's 5 links that are included in our blog versus the 1.
Okay, great. Not to like jump around too much, but how about YouTube? How have you guys grown your YouTube from 0 to 1.5 thousand followers?
Yeah, mostly we focus on long format, so hour plus long films that create a sense of connection, right? Everything we do with content creation is based around creating an emotional connection with the viewer. Um, we have attempted shorter format, which for us is 5 to 15 minutes, with limited success. Honestly, it's not been crazy successful for us, and I have a background in documentary filmmaking, and that's been so for me. I try to spend the majority of my time on YouTube making long format films, full length documentary features, and we find that the click through rate for somebody who's willing to watch an hour and a half long film is so much higher than somebody who's watching a 5 minute tutorial on how to use a piece of gear, right? So I think that gear reviews are something that people find great success with on YouTube. Admittedly, we have not. It's just not something that we're crazy passionate about. I think that that would be probably the most functional funnel when it comes to commissionable links, would be to do raw and down and dirty gear reviews that give people insight into why they need a piece of gear, how it might work for their use case. Here's a link, go click it, right? But just providing links in our long format films, we've found a reasonable amount of success with that.
Okay, so with your linking method on YouTube, do you guys just do it in the descriptions? Do you guys do it in like your bio? Is there other places that you kind of link to?
We mostly just do it in the description for the film. And then we have used links in the community page a couple of times. Limited success there. I think that honestly, we haven't done our due diligence to stay up on the community page itself. It's we always have to figure out how do we allocate our bandwidth, and with so many channels to operate at the same time. Plus, we're running a marketing firm full time now for a bunch of the brands that we partner with. So, yeah, it's just one of those where we have to decide how can we allocate our time, in a way that's productive for our partners and ourselves. But really, that's been the key to our full time success, has been just diversifying, making sure that we have many different revenue streams that are coming from many different areas, and none of them may be super large, but when combined, they produce enough revenue for us to live this lifestyle full time.
Yeah, and so
I will.
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to add one more thing to the YouTube. So we also share our short format, like vertical short format stuff on there too. So the shorts, you can link to a related video on those shorts. I would highly recommend that you link to a video that's doing well, or link to a video that you have a lot of those partnership links, the product links in. Utilize that tool on YouTube. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about using it, and I know that we have, and we've seen people clicking on that link. They're going to those longer format, and I know that that's resulting in more clicks.
Have you guys also utilized your TripAdvisor links in your YouTube in terms of like location-based kind of stuff yet?
We have not yet, but we are going to be releasing a video here shortly about our first big trip, where we started to push the TripAdvisor link, and it will be in there.
Okay, amazing. I'm excited to track the stats to see how that works.
Yeah.
That's cool. How about Facebook? Any different linking methods there? And do you guys also link to TripAdvisor on Facebook, since it's such a clickable platform?
Yeah, so just kind of the same thing. We're still dealing with direct message. You're going to find a different audience, right? Like there's some that cross over on all of the platforms, but it's a different audience. They are particularly happy to go through DM on Facebook, I think, even more than any of the other platforms. So that's probably one that we see a lot more traffic through DM and just sending them that specific link.
Okay, cool. And I know, just to like talk a little bit more about TripAdvisor and the pay-per-click, whenever you drive traffic to TripAdvisor, it is, if you drive traffic to their hotels, that is when you actually generate that click, versus I know they have like flight flights, they have car rentals, all that good stuff. But that is actually, where you guys see the sales. Oh, we have another question. Tina, do you share links on your actual Facebook posts or do you just do DMs? Good question.
Yeah, so we've leaned on just creating content that causes an inquiry in somebody's mind and says, I'm going to reach out to these people. They seem like they know what they're talking about. And Facebook, actually, people are very, very willing to direct message because it has the Messenger platform built in, and people are very accustomed to using Messenger. So that's something that we've strived to ride the line with content where we don't have to be salesy, where we can just be artists with answers, right? So that people feel compelled to reach out to us because through our content, we're demonstrating for them that we understand the intricacies of travel, whether it be remote travel to Prudhoe Bay, Alaska, or if it's travel to a densely populated area like LA County, right? And they will reach out and we just provide them with a link and say, look, this was our experience. We had a great time at this hotel. Be sure and hit the hot tub. It's an awesome, nice, clean facility.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we have stayed consistent with. And I think that that's the most important thing is that you're going to see that there are people that do post that and it's really successful for them. And they're consistent with doing that. Their audience is used to seeing them post that kind of stuff. So it's not going to feel tacky if they post it every single day. So if that's something that you want to do, then I would just recommend that you stay consistent with it. I know for us, with incorporating affiliate links into something that was really just a portfolio, the audience that we've built, they're just not accustomed to us doing that. So if we do randomly, it feels weird. It feels cringy, and we know that it's not being received as well. So it's just really about staying consistent with whatever you want to do.
Okay, we have another question. Sarah Brown, do you have a section on your site or social media where you save your hotel or TripAdvisor recommendations? Good question.
That is a good question. We don't, other than the blog. So the website is pretty simple. We don't like to have too much because people will click out of a website pretty quickly if it's too complicated, if you have too much stuff. So we rely very heavily on the blogs to be able to retain those links.
Do you also post about your camera gear? Because I know that you guys, obviously are photographers, first and foremost. Do you guys, talk about that to your audience?
We find that most of our audience are not photographers. Is the interesting part. Most of our audience are. I would say that we run on like almost an 80-20 scale of 80% aspirational content and 20% educational content. And for us, we kind of just break it into those two sections. We have learned to create aspirational content that really hits home for people who either they're limited by lifestyle or ability or what have you, and they just want to see somebody out living some sort of dream that they have, right? And we're able to provide that education or that aspiration for them. And really it's a key part of our brand, like our ethos is to encourage other families to travel together. That's our core value. So we have not, we have tried at times to share information, techniques with our camera and video gear, and we found that it is not done well. And I think it's just because our follower base is not a ton of photographers. I know that the people that we follow are almost entirely photographers. And so that can, it's confusing at times because a lot of the content we're seeing is made for photographers. And then a lot of the content that we're distributing is not.
Oh, Sarah Brown has another good question. All right. What are your highest converting products and what has made them stand out in terms of sale, pricing, the way you presented them, etc.?
I honestly think that our top product is probably front runner Wolfpack Pro.
Yep.
And that I think is because it's like right around that $100 mark. And I know that is kind of that line where people are okay to spend that kind of money fairly easily. But if it goes above that, people have to debate that, and it takes a lot longer to generate that sale, probably outside of the scope of when that link is going to do you any good.
Another question from Sarah. What specific brands have you been most successful with?
Definitely front runner. Like Amanda just said, front runner is, I mean, we're entrenched with that company. They've been a partner of ours for a long time. We've been freelance photographers and videographers for them, making marketing assets. We do a lot of collaborative work where we make content together. Just recently, our trip to California was to get a new product that they're releasing installed on our truck. And so we were able to do a live event with them while we were down there, like a meet and greet event. So yeah, just I think that the brand that anybody's going to be most successful with is the one that they are the most connected to, right? And so we find that front runner is super successful for us because one, we believe in the product that they make, and two, we are more than happy to recommend it to our followers.
Okay, another question from Tina. Do you share kids gear, and do you notice that it does well?
That's a struggle. At least the industry that we're in, a lot of it's really not intended for kids. In the past, we even worked with a clothing brand, and they chose to work with us because of our family, but they didn't have kids' clothes, and they said that we couldn't have our kids in the photographs. It was a very conflicting thing for us, but whenever we have something that relates to traveling with kids, we will share that. Like we have some like seat back organizers that make it super easy to travel with kids. We'll share whatever we can, and I think that stuff does well. I think we've seen that it's really been like Amazon cheap gear that's ended up selling, but it has sold. It's done really well. But there's just like limited amount, and the problem is all kids are different, all families are different, all families travel different and require different things for the kids that are at different ages, different stages. So it's really difficult for you to be able to push a lot of stuff because the audience just gets smaller and smaller depending on which phase you're at with it.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned Amazon. Actually, we just recently, super excitingly, connected with Amazon, and we're integrated with them, or integrating with them right now. So soon and very soon, you guys will be able to access your Amazon links, for those, little items that might not be on other brands. Where
That's
it might be
fantastic.
Yeah,
That's gonna be huge. I think there are a lot of, again, sub $100 items that are through Amazon. Those are what are gonna sell super easy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. Nick said, what front runner item that do you guys promote?
Oh, it's the Wolfpack Pro, which is like their version of a plastic bin that is, they perfectly integrate with each other, so you can stack them and they're fairly lockable. The reason I think we've been successful with them the most is just because they're so universal. I mean, you could use them to carry, we use them for a variety of uses. We have some mounted on the top of our truck that are for shoes and blankets that get dirty at the beach. And then we also have some that we use for our clothes every day. We use it as a kitchen when we're on the move and camping. So it's just a super universal product, and it's very easy to recommend because anybody could use a great bin, and it's going to last way longer than a cheap bin that you buy at a box store.
Mm-hmm. Great questions. I know, like, we've kind of very organically flowed into the Q&A part, so I'm just going to keep going with these questions. Tina said, for the brands that you actually work with, when do you reach out to them about RockPorch, and have any of them said no, that you can't share RockPorch links?
I don't think that we've ever run into that before. And I think the only times, I guess we've never actually, I mean, we've spoken to partner brands about RockPorch before, but we've never frankly asked permission to share links. I mean, it's our distribution, so we can do with it what we will. as long as it's in the confines of the contracts that we have in place. But if we're promoting their product, I don't think they mind where those links come from necessarily.
Yeah, because we
Yeah,
have affiliate links with all of them, specifically, whether it's through RockPorch or something or another platform that they use. We have affiliate links, but we've chosen to go through RockPorch because like REI has a much higher commission rate. And again, like they don't care as long as we're promoting it. It's not a big deal, and they certainly aren't going to tell us. At least we don't have it written in our contract. I will say that any of the deals that we have contracts, we make sure the wording is
Fitting.
Yeah. And with RockPorch, obviously, you know, as a RockPorch creator, you have the benefit of accessing all 800 of the brands and their affiliate links immediately and directly. And so those brands are in essence, because we vet and, you know, the creators that are on our platform, we make sure that there's quality and caliber in that sense, and before, you know, they are able to share that link. So as long as you're a RockPorch creator and you can promote any of the brands, and that's in essence, they give you access, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, what else? Oh, Nick just said Wolfpack Pro. I know them. So that's awesome. Yeah, feel free to continue with the questions. But how often do you post your affiliate links on? And is there a different way that you or a different time frame that you post them on different channels?
So we do it pretty consistently. It's going to happen every week. It might vary how many times we do throughout the week, but it is going to be multiple times a week. I know currently right now, because Frontrunner just came out with a new bed rack. That's what we went down and got put on the truck. We have a link to that on our link tree. We've specifically put that on the link tree so that it has that highlight.
Yeah, and as we roll out, because we're going to have a whole stream of YouTube content that'll be related to the new features of new products. So we will definitely be linking that in that YouTube content as well. So I would say how often we link would be related to either the products themselves or the content that we're releasing. Because we have some content that we would not typically link in, and that would be, you know, our cinematic short form, as in reels and shorts that are hyper cinematic, and they're mostly just they're mostly designed to be entertainment, and they're not product heavy. So that's something that we typically wouldn't link in. But then we have content that is a little more educational leaning and is meant to show people how we use products. Those are going to get a link almost every time.
Awesome. Ooh, another great question from Sarah Brown. What are your favorite software resources, websites that have been helpful for you when you started out or help with efficiency?
Boy, that is a revolving door.
Yeah.
Some things will work for a little while, and then all of a sudden, like, they just become more of a headache. I know that I use Planable to try and help with scheduling stuff, but then I found that YouTube and Instagram stuff just tanked. It was not performing well when you schedule and have it posted through that. So that's kind of adapting. I'm trying to think what else. I use a video editing app, which let me see.
We use Canva every day. I mean, that's something that we use super often. We do all of our photo editing in Lightroom, and then we do all of our video editing through Final Cut Pro.
Video Leap. There's an app called Video Leap that I have used that just makes the final touch on video editing, because I guess I can go into our strategy a little bit on how we edit our videos. So we use a cinematic camera to be able to get all of that footage, and then we edit that in Final Cut Pro. We will then just piece together like a 3-minute plus clip that has all of that footage in there. And then I have that on my phone, and I will be able to cut that up and piece together videos. It's a really easy way to be able to recycle some of the same content too, and you can kind of mix everything together. That is a huge time saver. Instead of doing each individual video, you're able to just pick from this library that's all in one click.
Cool. That's a great tip. Oh my gosh, so many questions coming through. All right, another one. Erin, you said that you send out marketing emails. How do you go about growing that email list?
Yeah, so we have a pop-up on our website that comes up. And then as well, when we do live events, because we have the Pacific Northwest is pretty active for camping and outdoors. So there's a lot of, like, just recently, 2 weeks ago, we were at a local off-road shop and overland shop that put on an event. And when we're at a live event, we'll always try and do some form of a giveaway, right? We'll partner with one of our brand partners and give something away. And as to get entered into that giveaway that we're doing at our booth for the day, we'll do an email campaign where we ask for them to provide their email and their name so that they can get entered.
Yeah, and something that I always recommend to our creators is to create a PDF form with a bunch of your affiliate links, such as a packing list or whatever, and give that as a freebie, to the people who opt into your email list, so that you're giving away, a free product, but in essence, getting back that click. So if you guys haven't done that too, actually, no, I know you guys do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we have, so specifically, like, our niche is overlanding. So we have a lot of requests for, what do you need to start with that? So we pieced together a document on Canva. We made it customized to our style, our branding. And so anytime that somebody signs up for emails, then they get that link to that document.
Yeah. All right. Allie is asking, how long did it take you guys from when you first started to be able to pursue this lifestyle full time? And how
4
did
years.
help you?
Kind of. So our journey started, but we had no intention of it being full time until a little over a year ago. And we decided at that point that just give it a try. What's the worst that can happen? That we just get to try to live as much of this lifestyle as possible. And, worst case, we still have our 9 to 5, and we just get to have this hobby paid for essentially by doing it. But we tackled it really hard over the last year, and we were able to make it full time.
Yeah, I would say though, for an audience that's asking that question, my concern would be if we said it took a year, then the expectation would be, well, I should be able to do it in a year. And the problem is that's not the whole story.
Yeah.
The reality is we worked 4 years on evenings and weekends diligently, learning how to produce content that's attractive enough that it will garnish views, which will then lead to sales and sponsorship deals with brands. And after 4 years, we then decided we're going to spend the next year attacking this as hard as possible. I know it sounds very cheesy, but we are now 100% believers in manifestation, and just stating that in a year, we're going to do this full time. And then identifying as a person, like, identify yourself as, we are content creators and that's what we do for a living. And when you have those mental shifts, it makes it so much easier to grind, because I'm sure anybody in this space is going to know what the grind feels like, right? You have days where you do not want to go shoot, you do not want to run a camera, you do not want to have to edit for 4 hours on a Friday night instead of just taking your family out to go see a movie, right? And we just committed ourselves to it for that 12-month period, and somehow the stars aligned and it came together, and we were able to launch full time just at the start of this year. But I want to be sure that people understand that it is a long period of time that it takes. Typically, sometimes people are overnight, but that's not the norm. And all the people that we know that do this full time, because we have lots of friends who are also full time, they would tell you exactly the same thing. So the amount of time it takes is directly correlated to how hard you work and how committed you are to the goal.
Awesome. We have literally like 30 seconds left. Please answer we have 2 more questions. Let's zip through.
Let's do it.
Why did you choose to go with Wix to build your website?
just because it was an easy platform. We're not website designers, so we wanted something that was simple, and Squarespace was something that we had used in the past and we weren't happy with it, so we just switched over to Wix and have been very happy.
Okay, and I'm assuming that answers this question. Did you guys build your own website? I'm assuming it's yes.
You know, we actually outsource that.
Yeah.
We outsource that through Fiverr.
Yep, highly recommend
Oh.
Fiverr, and we have a guy who does amazing work, so if anybody wants that information, we're happy to share our person.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for all your questions, for engaging with us. Thank you so much, Amanda Patrick, for carving out a little bit of time with us to talk about your incredible insights. Make sure to check them out on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, and their website at Rugged Destinations. And also, if you're interested in being featured in our next webinar series that is featuring our creators, please email me directly at erau@rockporch.com, and we will be sending out a recorded version of this website. So stay tuned to your inboxes. Thanks for your time today, and I'll see you at the next webinar. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.